Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so some disclaimers here. The reason I am coming out with my story, I used to be ashamed of a lot of my past, and a lot of you that know me in Colorado don't know some things about me that are going to come out, but I decided to be braver than my fears, and I'm doing this because I was once a kid who had no guidance and no support, and didn't know if I could become something better than what I am in life. And that's why I'm ultimately doing these videos, is because I want, in case someone else that is like me comes across these videos, you can see that no matter where you come from or who you are, you can always do whatever you put your mind to, and your past doesn't define who you are at all. So with that being said, grab your coffees, grab your teas, your beverages, whatever, and let's get started. Today, we're going to start with chapter 1 of my story, The Beginning. So, we're going to go back to 1994, pretty much. Also, because I don't like to just talk and not do anything, you guys are going to watch me do my freckles, okay? I do henna freckles. You put them on, they're going to look crazy on me, but you sleep with them on, let them dry, and then you wash them off in the morning and you have freckles. So I'll post results too eventually for you guys to see. So we're gonna go back to 1994 in Dayton, Ohio, where I was born. I am one of 4 siblings. I am the second. So I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and then there's me, and then I have a sister I call my twin sister. We're a little less than 2 years apart, but we have telepathy and everything, and we're very close. And then I have another little brother, and my parents got divorced, so they had mirror siblings. So I have 2 of the same age. So 2 older brothers that are 4 years older than me, 2 little brothers that are the same age, and then me and my sister are right in the middle. So, Mom, just know that I love you, but you're a big part of my story, and I have to be honest about, everything. I just wouldn't be myself. My mother had my older brother. My mom kind of grew up in a bad situation. Her mother was on drugs, and my mom was a sibling of 5. And she kind of grew up like I did, honestly, but I think I probably grew up worse than she did. And she met my brother's dad in high school, and she got pregnant with my brother, so that way she could be let go out of her home growing up. So her mom would let her go. I don't know if my mom ever should have really had kids. I don't know if she's really the kid type, honestly. I think that plays into a lot of our story here. So my mom was with my brother's dad. She had my brother, and then they broke up because he cheated on my mom with her best friend. Trifling, I know. And then my mom met my dad in a bar, which is weird because my dad doesn't drink. He still doesn't drink, never has drank a day in his life. I think his brother dragged him out from what he tells me. So then they met. So to this day, I don't know why they were together, honey, because the match was not matching for me. So they met each other, they got together, and then they had me, and then a couple years later, my sister was born, and then my parents they were the only 2 that were married. They got a divorce. My mom says my dad abused her. That's a story for another time. But they got divorced, and my mom actually cheated on my dad. The irony, but whatever. With some redneck racist guy who ended up being my stepdad for 19 years. Real fun. My stepdad was an alcoholic, wasn't really a good guy at all. Another fun fact is all my siblings are white, except for me and my sister. We're the only 2 that are mixed. My dad's black. And growing up, my stepdad was awful to us. He would call us the N-word, make us clean, was just terrible. And I would tell my mom about it, and she just wouldn't do anything. Don't know why, really. I think she was getting fed money for drugs, and I think that was just more important for her at the time. My mom was never really a brave person, so that kind of caused a rift between us throughout the years as well. So growing up, like I said, my stepdad was very abusive. My mom says that she got surgery in college for tearing her rotator cuff playing soccer, and they gave her pain pills, and back then they didn't really know what pain pills did. So she became addicted to them, and then that grew into other drugs like Xanax, and then ultimately heroin. And that was rough. So my stepdad was giving her money, and I think that's really all that really mattered to her. We saw a lot of things as kids, really, 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 really bad things that still stick with me to this day. I have memories of waking up and hearing my mom getting I'm pretty sure, by my stepdad or somebody else, I still can hear her crying and saying, please stop. Still hear that in my head to this day. And I just laid there for hours until I could fall back asleep, still hearing it, because what could I do? I was 9 at the time. Yeah. There was a time that my mom tried to sell drugs from her drug dealer friend, but she did them all instead. So the guy came to our house with a knife and threatened to kill all of us if she didn't come up with the money. I remember her packing our bags and us fleeing. I remember the guy coming to the door. I remember all of it. And it was scary, and eventually she sold her washer and dryer to another one of her drug friends, and got the money for that. And in our neighborhood, a lot of the ladies, weirdly, were all on drugs. They all did drugs together with my mom. And I had to buy food stamps from neighbors and take things to the store and return them just to buy us food as kids growing up. And I remember one time my mom overdosed. I was about 10. I came home from church with my sisters. The first time we went to church. And I felt so optimistic. I'll never forget it. And I came home and my mom was dead on the floor, gasping for air every 2 minutes. And my older brother didn't have a good relationship with my mom, obviously. He had a friend that adopted him pretty much when he was in high school, so he rarely ever came around. And he was slapping her, trying to wake her up, and I was crying and saying, let me go call 911, and he wouldn't let me, because he called my stepdad, who works 12-hour shifts, and my stepdad just went to work, and he said, wait till I get home. And I knew something was wrong, and I just knew that wasn't a good idea. So I grabbed my little sister, and I put her through our bedroom window, and my brother wasn't around. He was in the living room. She went to her neighbors, and they called the police. And I remember them trying to bring my mom back to life on the living room floor. But she was dead for quite a while. She was in a coma for months. They put her in the hospital. And during that time, my lovely stepdad decided to leave. He was never around. And my brother also ditched. And I was, like I said, 10 or 11. I had a little brother that was 2 at the time, and my sister who was 8. And I was taking care of us. I wasn't going to school. I was skipping school because I was staying at home and cleaning the house and trying to keep the house together. And I would call every day to the hospital, and the nurse would put the phone up to my mom's ear because I thought maybe she could hear me. And my family came down from Florida, my mom's sisters, and they were going to unplug her. And that was going to be it. She was going to die. But luckily they unplugged her, and she actually woke up. So that was one other traumatic situation that I've been through. And the addiction didn't stop there. It got worse. Eventually we got evicted out of our apartment. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, me and my 4 siblings and my mom. So I shared a room with 3 siblings, literally. But we got evicted and had to move into a motel. It was the worst motel. It's not even open anymore. It's closed for prostitution and drugs. And we lived there. My mom prostituted there. I would have to take my brother and sister in the bathroom. She probably doesn't even remember this because she was not really with it. And I would have to take them in the bathroom and play with them when she was out there with a gentleman caller doing what she needed to do. Not even for food money. The money was for drugs. We would go days without eating. So I would go steal from the Walmart down the street to feed us. And eventually a Walmart worker called Children's Services because they were wondering why we weren't in school, you know. So then the courts got involved, and my mom had to go to one meeting, and all she had to do was be sober for it. And she couldn't do it. So she went to this meeting, and she was messed up, and they decided to give all of our siblings to our dads. We all had different dads except for me and my sister. I'll never forget that day because my bus stop was the Arby's, and they dropped me off from school. It was like the one day I went to school. And I saw my mom in the lobby of the hotel, so fucked up. Her eyes were bulged out of her eyes. She was wearing my clothes, had my clothes literally in the parking lot, coming out of bags, was crying, saying that she had lost us. And I remember freaking out because I didn't know it was even going on. I was just a kid. I didn't really know she was on drugs because she would lie to me and say that she had a sleeping disorder. And I believed her because she was my mom, you know, so I thought she was just sick. So we were all taken away. All went to our separate dads. I'll never forget that day because we were in the cab. My stepdad was a cab driver, and he was dropping us all off. And we were crying, holding hands, me and my little sister and my little brother, saying that no matter what, we would come back for him because he was only 4, I want to say, at the time. I'll never forget that. And we got dropped off with my dad, and I wish I could say those years were any better, but they were not. They're probably some of the worst years of abuse of my life, to be honest. I still deal with a lot of the things I went through to this day at 31. But in high school, I was a really smart kid. I got straight A's. I was paid to do people's work. School just came easy for me, and You know, my mom is my best friend, and I didn't understand what it was about drugs that made it worth, you know, giving up everything. And I wanted to know. I was a freshman in high school. I didn't really know any better. So I remember I had a friend who got their teeth pulled, and I asked them if I could have one of their pills because it sounded familiar from what my mom used to take. And I just wanted to see, like, I'm just going to take one time, you know? I just want to see what's so good about this that would make you give up everything. And God, did I see. That was the first time of the best feeling that I have still never been able to reach in my life. Looking back now, I wish I would have knew better, but I didn't, and that's okay. Because it brought me into the rest of my story and where I am today. So that was the first part that started my own addiction of many, many years to come. So that's just like a brief little overview of the beginning of my life. I'm going to post a part 2 soon about me and what happened through my years. And like I said, I'm not going to run from my past anymore. I'm not going to be ashamed because I'm proud of who I am. I came so far moving here on my own, and I never got in any trouble. And, you know, I started my own business and got my family here, and I'm so strong because of the things that I've been through. I'm not going to hide that or be ashamed of it. It's made me who I am. And like I said, there might be people out there that were me once, and they need to see someone like me and see that you can do it, you know? So that's what these videos are for. Also, as I said, I started another series on starting your own business. So I'm going to be posting a video on that soon of what it's like to start and where to start from part 1. And I'll film the whole process. Me and my sister are opening our own bed and breakfast here in Castle Rock in the next couple of years. And I want to show you guys like what you do from step 1 all the way to the end. I'm going to take you guys along the entire journey with me. It's going to be so much fun. It'll be cool to look back on that one day as well. So I love you guys. I know I look crazy, but whatever. So like I said, this is henna. You put it on, you leave it, let it dry overnight, and then it gets crispy, unfortunately. And then you wash it off in the morning, and you have beautiful, perfect freckles. I will show you guys that eventually. All right. Bye. See you guys soon.